Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhaktavrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Jaya Girivaradhari Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Jaya Girivaradhari Jaya Yashodhanandana Jaya Vraja Janaranjana Jaya Yashoda Nandana Jaya Vraja Janaranjana Jaya Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Radha Madhava Radha Jaya Radha Gopinath Radha Gopinath Radha Jaya Radha Govinda Radha Govinda Radha Jai Jagannath, Jai Jagannath, Jai Baladeva, Jai Subhadra, Jai Jagannath, Jai Jagannath, Jai Baladeva, Jai Subhadra, Gauranitai, Jaya Gauranitai, Gauranitai, Jaya Gauranitai, Nitai Gaura Haribol. हरि बोल हरि बोल नित्य गौर हरि बोल जय जय प्रभुपाद 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 जय जय प्रभुपाद Hare Krishna. So this month is going, Vaishakh month is going on. So we'll sing Keshava Ashtakam, which is written by Srila Rupa Goswami. It is from the book Stavamala. And Srila Rupa Goswami glorifies Lord Keshava in this Ashtakam. And he also says that whoever recites this with a pure mind will attain happiness and firm attraction to Lord Krishna's rules. Hare Krishna. Shri Keshava Ashtakam. Navakiyakamанjari Rachita Karna Purashriyam विनीत्रतार मालती कलितशेखरेणोज्ज्वलम् दरोच वसितायुतिकगतिक वल्गुवैकाक्षकम् व्रजे विजयिनं भजे विपिनदेशतः केशवम् I worship Keshava, who returns from the forest of Vraja, with his ears beautified with earrings made of fresh kadamba birds, whose crown is brightened by blooming malti flowers, and around whose neck a wreath of slightly blooming utica flowers is wound. पिशङ्गमलिकस्तने प्रणतशृङ्गी पिङ्गे क्षणे मृदङ्गमुखि धूमले सबलिहंसि वंशिप्रिये इति स्वसुरभिकुलं तरलम् अव्ययन्तं मुद व्रजे विजयिनं भजे विपिनदेशत केशवम्. I worship Keshava, who returns from the forest of Vraja, joyfully wandering amongst his Surabhi cows, calling them by name Pishangi, Manikashtani, Pranatashangi, Pingekshani, Mridangamukhi, Dhumale, Sabali, Hamshi, Vamshi घनप्रलय मेधुरन्मधुरनर्मगोष्ठीकला विलासनिलयान्निलाद्विविधवेशविद्योतिना सखिन्नखिलशरयपि पठेषु हस्तयन्तं गिरा व्रजे विजयिनं भजे विपिनदेशत केशवम्. I worship Keshava, who returns from the forest of Vraja. He is softened by deep love, enjoys sweet joking conversations, and he is the abode of all playful enjoyments. He shines in many different dresses and laughs at the best jokes that his friends make along the way. श्रमम्बुकनिकावलीधरविलिध गन्धन्तरम् समूढगिरिधातुभिर्लिखितचारुपत्राङ्कुरम् उदाशचत्मनिमण्डलि द्युतिविदम्बि वक्रालकम् व्रजे विजयिनं भजे विपिनदेशत केशवम्. I worship Keshava, who returns from the forest of Vraja. The leaves that were painted on his cheeks with mountain minerals are slightly washed away by the drops of perspiration, and his curly locks defeat the luster of a cluster of bees. निबद्धनवत्रनाकवली विलोकनोतकण्ठये न तत्कुरापुतश्चलेर अलाकुभिर्भुवन् बिन्धतम् कलेन धवलीगतं लघूनिवर्तयन्तं पुरो व्रजे विजयिनं भजे विपिनदेशत केशवम्. I worship Keshava, who returns from the forest of Vraja. The cows that eagerly look at their bound-up calves deeply carve the soil with their dancing hooves, and he withholds them the soft playing of his flute. Padam katativirvaran virachayantam advashriyam Chalataralanaichiki Nichayadhulidhum Prasrajam Marullahari Chaschali Krita Dukul Chudaschalam Vraje Vijayinam Bhaje Vipinadeshata Keshavam. I worship Keshava, who returns from the forest of Vraja, beautifying the roads with his footprints, whose garland is made grey by the dust thrown up by his herd of restless cows, and whose cloth scarf and gown are moving along with the waves of the blowing wind. विलासमुरलीकलाध्वनिभिरुल्लासमानसः क्षणादखिलबल्लव पुलाकयन्तम् अन्तर्गृहे मुहुर्वितादहन्तं हृदि प्रनादितं च गोष्ठेश्वरीम् व्रजे विजयिनं भजे विपिनदेशत केशवम्. I worship Keshava, who returns from the forest of Vraja, where he gladdened the minds of all the cowherd girls at once with the playful and artful tunes of his Murli flute, which causes them to horripilate of ecstasy within their inner quarters, and who constantly gives joy to the heart of the Queen of Vraja, Yashoda. उपेत्य पठि सुन्दरी ततिभिराभिरभ्यर्चितम् स्मिताङ्कुरकरम्बिते नतात् अपङ्गभङ्गीशातये स्तनस्तवकशाश्चरन्नयन चश्चारिकाश्चलम् व्रजे विजयिनं भजे विपिनदेशत केशवम्. I worship Keshava, who returns from the forest of Vraja, being worshipped by hundreds of dancing, playful glances and beautiful smiles of the beautiful girls on the road, and the corners of whose bee-like eyes move restlessly around their bud-like breasts. Idam nikhila ballavi kulamahotsalam क्रमेण किलया पुमान् पठति शुष्टुपत्यास्तकम् तमुज्ज्वलधियं सदा निजपदारविन्दद्वये रतिं दधात्तचश्चलं सुखाय ताद्विशाखा सखय. To anyone who nicely recites these 8 prayers that are a festival of bliss for all the cowherd girls, the friend of Vishakha, Shri Krishna, will give firmly fixed attraction to his lotus feet. Such a pure-minded soul will attain all happiness. Hare Krishna. Shri Keshavashtakam ki jai. Shri Rupa Goswami ki jai. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Ram. Thank you, Prabhuji. Vandit Pranam.
Thank you, Mataji. Thank you very much for the nice kirtan. I welcome all the devotees to today's session. We'll begin the class with the invocation prayers. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. ओम अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः. श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपकदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम्. वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरु श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरुन् वैष्णवाञ्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं त्वजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्ण चैतन्य देवं श्री राधा कृष्ण पादान् सगण ललिता श्री विशाखान्वितं च. हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगतपते गोपीश गोपिकाकांत राधाकांत नमस्तुते. तप्त कांचन गौरंगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये. वाञ्छा कल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः. पंचतत्वात्मकं कृष्णं भक्तरूपस्वरूपकं भक्तावतारं भक्ताख्यं नमामि भक्तशक्तिकं. जयतां सुरतो पंगुर्मम मन्दमतिर्गति मत्सर्वस्वपदाम्बोजौ राधामदनमोहनौ. दिव्याद वृंदारण्यकल्पद्रुमः श्रीमद् रत्नांगर सिंहासनस्थितो श्रीमद् राधा श्रीलगोविंद देवौ पृष्ठालिभिसेव्यमानं स्मरामि. श्रीमान् रासरसारम्भे बंसी भट्टतटस्थित दर्शन वेणुस्वनैर्गोपीर्गोपीनाथ श्रीयस्तु नः. श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद. Now we will offer our obeisances to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and the 6 Goswamis of Vrindavan. नमो महावदान्याय कृष्ण प्रेम प्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्ण चैतन्य नम्ने गौरतिसे नमः. O most munificent incarnation, you are Krishna himself appearing as Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. You have assumed the golden color of Srimati Radharani and you are widely distributing the pure love of Krishna. We offer our respectful obeisances unto you. Krishna Vannam Tisa Krishnam Sangopangostra Parsadam Yagge Sankirtana Praye Yajanti Sumedasaha. In the age of Kali, intelligent persons perform congregational chanting to worship the incarnation of Godhead who constantly sings the name of Krishna. Although his complexion is not blackish, he is Krishna himself. He is accompanied by his associates, servants, weapons, and confidential companions. Nana Shastra Vicharana ke Nipunam Sadharma Samstapako Lokanam Hitakarino Tribhuvane Manya Saranya Karo Radha Krishna Padara Vinda Bhajana Anandena Mattaliko Bande Rupa Sanatana Raghujugo Sri Jiva Gopalako. I offer my respectful obeisances unto the six Goswamis of Vrindavan, namely Sri Rupa Goswami, Sri Sanatana Goswami, Sri Raghunatha Bhatta Goswami, Sri Raghunatha Dasa Goswami, Sri Jiva Goswami, and Sri Gopala Bhatta Goswami, who are very expert in scrutinizingly studying all the revealed scriptures with the aim of establishing eternal religious principles for the benefit of all human beings. Thus, they are honored all over the three worlds and they are worth taking shelter of because they are absorbed in the mood of the gopis and are engaged in the transcendental loving service of the divine couple Sri Radha and Krishna. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudire Nasta Prayesu Abhadresu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Sloke Bhaktir Bhavati Nashtiki Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare. Once again, I welcome all the devotees to the today's session. Yesterday, we learned about lesson 76 and part of 77. We'll continue with lesson 77 today, the Akrura's prayers, basically. And before that, I'll request Sanjeev Prabhuji to recap what we learned yesterday in lesson 76.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dhanwas Pranam. Prabhuji, am I audible?
Yes.
Yes. Prabhuji, I need 1 minute, I guess. Okay. So yesterday we did read about Akrura's entry to or planning an entry to Vrindavan. So we will do a recap of that chapter. I just need 1 minute, Prabhu.
Let me start the screen share. Yes. So this is chapter 38, lesson 76, 77. So yesterday we did lesson 76, Akru's arrival in Vrindavan. And today Prabhuji will take us to Akru's vision and the Akrura's prayer. the most famous here, which he will chant in that when he has a vision of Allah. Here, Apru's arrival in Vrindavan, we see there are two themes or two sections. First, Akrura's meditation on Krishna and Balram as he goes from Mathura to Vrindavan on the order of Kamsa. We covered that in detail, how Kamsa actually tricks him, and then what are the feelings and why did Akrura take decision to go, despite with all the dualities that came along. And then how respectfully and with all honor the lords Nand Baba and the Brajvasi receive Akrura. And they were learning. So, in the first section, Akrura's meditation on Krishna and Balram along his way from Mathura to Vrindavan, how he is so feeling himself very grateful and fortunate, and actually he thinks that by mercy of, and he says that by mercy of Kamsa and by his order, he is now able to go and take darshan of his beloved Lord, and how he rolls himself in the dust of Vrindavan and the wonderful prayer he says, right? So amongst all that wonderful prayers and thoughts, the first question here is, what is the what is the Krishna's embrace signifying? And what is the goal of devotion? Yeah, what is the goal of devotion? That's the question.
To get liberated from material existence and experience the Krishna Prema.
To experience Krishna Prema, and also the embrace of the Lord, which in the previous verses and chapter we also understand the embrace of the Lord, the sadhana we do, the devotional service we perform, which is chanting, reading, that also in a way signifies as an embrace or love of the Lord. So we move ahead to next slide. Now, question for next slide is, this is now the important highlights we see in this particular theme. What are the highlights we are covering in this? Devotion and humility, divine mercy, nature of reality. So first we will see the question and then we will recap. So what is the core principle of bhakti? What is the core principle of bhakti?
Understanding the relation with Krishna, Prabhuji. Okay, understanding our own space and then what is the relation with us. That is the core principle.
Correct. Perfect. So what are we? We are part and parcel of the Lord. And
Part and parcel of Lord.
yeah, so that is understanding of that relation. And that spiritual relation or elevation is not determinant on any of the material status, right? Whether one is Brahman, Shudra, whatever, it does not. It is only determined by the sincerity of one's. How sincere. So that is how sincere we are in our devotion. And also here extending that the true knowledge involves recognizing the presence of divine in all spheres of life. So that is what Akrura did. Akrura, like through different what we call signs and that he recognized the presence of divine in all the sphere of life, be it the order of the Kamsa or be it going to Vrindavan. So that is what key takeaway for us. And then continuing the other themes, contrast between material and spiritual realities, power of divine glorification, recognition of divine in the ordinary. So these were the additional three themes. And the conclusion is we understand about the concepts of Bhakti Yoga applied as by approach. Right? So now the question here is, state the process that can deliver and purify the whole world. What is the process that can deliver the whole world?
Glorification of the Lord will deliver the whole world and purify individual
Correct.
souls.
Absolutely correct, Natali. Thank you, Santanatali. That is right. The Sankirtan Katha, Bhagavad Katha, that purifies us, and not just us, the whole world. It has the potency to purify the whole world. This is the process given to us by Lord Chaitanya. So we should sincerely try to adhere to that. And next, continuing. Here now, Akrura reaches Vrindavan. It took him, as we say, throughout he started in the morning and he reaches by night because he was so absorbed, he could not even see the path. He was very much absorbed in the thoughts of Krishna and thinking how Lord Krishna will receive him and what he will say, what he will respond. So these thoughts are very, very blissful and much required. We must always contemplate on the qualities, name, form, leela, guna, and the Lords. That is what we need. Now the question on this slide is slide 6. So the question here is, what do Akrura action and prayers signify? What do his action and prayers teach us or signify?
One should surrender one's ego and pride in the presence
Correct.
of divine.
So one has to surrender our ego. That false ego means I am the Lord. Ancient. We have to recognize, as we covered in the previous slide, that we have to recognize our true position as the part and parcel and servant of the Lord, and then surrender to him in that aspect. And then what do we learn? So now Krishna and Balram, they receive Akrura very nicely, and Nanda Baba as well. They ask him, receive him. So what do we learn from Krishna's nature towards this attitude toward Akrura? What do we learn of his divine nature?
Hare Krishna.
Welcoming nature of the Lord.
Go ahead, Mother.
Yeah,
What is
it's
it?
welcoming nature of the Lord towards the sincere devotees. So,
Exactly.
just beyond the material position, post positions, etc. Okay, so as Akrura reached the devotional level, isn't it? So it was a true service, and that has transcended the social status also and personal concerns.
Very good. Yes, ma'am. Rajkumar, you need to add anything?
Hare
Yes.
Krishna Prabhuji.
Yes.
Okay, I'll go ahead with okay, so Lord say the atamam prapanda, the way we surrender to the Lord reciprocates. So along all the way, right from the morning till the evening, Akrura was meditating on the Lord's, like his form and all those things, right? So he sees that footprints on the, all those indications that how he was meditating. So that transferred, his heart was transferred. And when Lord sees that, Lord also reciprocated by Krishna, pulling him close and, Balram taking him inside and all those things, that what we see that, right? So Lord reciprocates equally to the devotee's surrender. So that is the prime message here.
Yes, very, very nicely
And
said. And
deep
yes, ma'am.
devotion and humility and feeling of surrender. This creates divine love.
Correct. Madam. These are our important assets, and Radhanath. Yes, ma'am. Thank you for Radha Vinod Prabhu. Thank you for sharing the perfect shloka here from Bhagavad Gita. So the way to the extent we surrender and act, to that way the Lord will respond. And Krishna here is very nicely, whoever is in Vrindavan with the right attitude of surrender, he receives nicely. It's not like they are chastising or upset with him that, hey, you are minister of Kamsa and you have come to take us to be get killed by Kamsa. He's acting as per Lord's plan. Also, I think Mataji mentioned yesterday and we discussed, what is more important is the intent. What is our intent? Then let's Krishna will do. Continuing. So further thematic highlights of this second section, as we said, humility and surrender, divine compassion. That's the compassion of the Lord, where relinquishing means getting rid of our material attachment, and the role of devotion. So now the question for this slide is, what do we learn from Akru's act of rolling in dust of Vrindavan or Krishna's lotus feet? What does that symbolize, or what does that teach us?
The surrendering of your ego and to recognize the Lord Supreme, that He is the Supreme Personality of God.
So that theme continues, and that is one way all our acharyas say as well. Like we
Sorry.
follow in that. Yes, way to follow in that mood, and when we go into Vrindavan, we must roll in the dust of the lotus feet, and that is what Vrindavan is, like superior form, which is the dust, because Lord Himself He walked. Okay? So this devotion requires humility, and we must set aside any of our social status, social um, connections and all. It's all about us being part and parcel and servants of the Lord. Okay, so continuing now, slide 9. Further themes are philosophical inquiry and doubt. So these are the inquiry of Nanda Maharaj, service and hospitality. We'll come to this for the question, and ecstasy we experience in devotion. So ecstasy is the central theme of this. Now coming to service and hospitality. So my question here is, how did Nand Maharaj and Krishna Balram receive Akrur, and what does it teach us? What does it signify?
It signifies good Vaishnava behavior of Balram and Krishna. They offer cow, and they give fragrance garland, and Balram does massage of Akrur feet. All this shows that hospitality, honors to the guest, and service. This is qualities of good Vaishnava.
Yeah, these are achar and vichar of the Vaishnava behavior. That is what we learn from the Lord Himself, be it receiving Akrura, or when He will now go to Dwarka Lila, He will receive Siksha from the Guru. So He will also go to the Gurukul level. So wonderful. So as per Gopis now, why is Akrura not Akrura, and why is he Krura?
Because he is taking their Krishna away. That's why he is Krura.
So that is we'll go through that in detail today. And that will be very, very heart-touching episode. And that's why Gopis call him Krura. And then second last question. Why is Krishna not willing or actually reluctant to inquire the well-being of his relative in Dwarka? Why is he a little bit,
Yeah,
he is
Prabhuji.
Yes,
Go ahead, Mother. Go ahead.
Sorry. Because he is aware that they are in great pain.
So this
That-
teaches us, yes, so this teaches us about the behavior of the Lord, right? Even in Chaitanya Charitamrita, we see how He deals so nicely according to the time, place, circumstance. So here also, He knows there is a lot of difficulty and how yadus are being treated, and then if He asks Akrura, He will literally, it's like asking him to reveal the pain. So he intentionally does not answer. He knows everything. So now last question, who has not answered yet? Let's see. I think Prasad Prabhuji have answered. Raksha Mataji has been quiet. So maybe next question for you. Raksha Mataji, what does Nand Maharaj behavior teach us? So there are further points here. The family bonds, divine Leela, justice and retribution. So unity and unity. So what does Krishna's role as protector and Nand Maharaj behavior towards accepting to send Krishna teaches? Anybody else?
Hare Krishna.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, absolutely.
So Krishna's role as protector, that is, he is the Dharma Samsthapanarthaya. He is the one who is going to restore the Dharma. So he he shows that, and that is what is signifying this particular philosophical side of this idea. And then he's going to ensure that everything is balanced in this cosmos. And Nanda Maharaj is going to direct his cowherd men. What is emphasizing there is his strength. That is, community is together, and they're going to face the challenges collectively.
Yes. Thank you very much, Patari. With that, I conclude the recap. So over to you, sir. Before I send, I've sent the survey form for all of you. Kindly take time to fill that in so that, as Chalpogri mentioned yesterday, we can get a feedback and understand how we can improve on our.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you very much.
Sorry, Prabhuji, I dozed off 2 consecutive nights now.
Take care, Prabhu. Why don't you take some rest?
It's okay, I'll listen.
No, I just mentioned we have sent the survey form, so requesting everyone to fill in. Great. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Sanjay Prabhuji. Now, having recapped the last lesson, yesterday's lesson, we'll continue with lesson the 77, starting with chapter 39, the verses 13 to 37. Now the background, now you remember, Akrura has arrived in Vrindavana. He has come to take away Krishna and Balarama on the orders of Kamsa, and he has met Krishna and Balarama in the evening, and throughout the night he has been talking with Nanda Maharaj, interacting with Nanda Maharaj and Yashoda Mata. And Nanda Maharaj, in the meantime, he has announced in Braja that early in the morning, Krishna and Balarama will be taken away to Mathura by Akrura. Now, this is known to all the gopis. Now, let us see what happens. What is the state of the young gopis? Now, please remember at this time when Krishna is leaving Mathura, Vrindavan for Mathura, Krishna is about 11 years. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says he was 10 years, 7 months. And Jiva Goswami says he was in the 12th year, that is 11 plus. Means it is 11 years, you can take it. And the gopis, they were about say 9 to 10 years old or a little younger also. This is the state. Now let us go through what happened. Now the young gopis are distraught at their imminent separation from Krishna, their profound devotion and intense sorrow. They were very much distressed, thinking that Krishna would be parting away from them, and they didn't know at that time that he would be away for 100 years. He actually came back after 100 years, though while going he said, I'll come back soon. Now these verses capture the deep emotional turmoil experienced by the gopis at the thought of Krishna's impending departure. Their love for Krishna portrayed with intense passion, highlighting the profound connection they share with him. Now, as we know, these gopis, they are eternally connected to Krishna, and they could not even withstand even the fraction of a second separation from him. Now, when the thought of it, this Vipralamba Bhava, it came into their mind, and they were very much distressed. The sub-themes of love, separation, longing, illustrating the complexities of devotion. This is all devotional service, but these are very, very complex matter. They are distressed, but they were getting pleasure out of that. And the emotional depths of the gopis experience with Krishna, overall, it is rich and evocative exploration of divine love and the heart struggle in the face of separation. They were about to be separated, they knew it very well, and they were very much distressed about it. The gopis' anguish is evident as they hear of Akrura's arrival to take Krishna and Balarama. They had seen Krishna and they had seen Akrura in the evening only, and they had got the message through Nanda Maharaj that in the morning he will be taking away Krishna and Balarama to Mathura. The description of their physical and emotional symptoms, paling faces, size, and withering limbs illustrate the extreme distress they feel. They were totally distressed. And their meditation on Krishna leads to a loss of connection with the material world. When they were thinking of Krishna, the material world was not visible to them. They were so immersed in it, showcasing the depth of their love. This shows the depth of their transcendental love. The dialogue amongst the gopis reveal their feelings of injustice and betrayal of providence. They were telling, they were saying that the providence has been very much cruel to them because it is trying to separate Krishna from them, questioning the creator's motives for separating them from Krishna. They express their fear and frustrations, comparing their suffering to the joy of the women in Mathura that we learned yesterday. They said that the women of Mathura, they are very, very fortunate because they will be having association of Krishna from now onwards. And the gopis of Vrindavana, they will be deprived of seeing Krishna every day in their life. Will now experience Krishna's praises. Their jealousy and sense of loss emphasize their profound attachment to him. Jealousy for what? Jealousy against the women of Mathura. And this represents what? Deep attachment, deep love for Krishna. That is what is bhakti or devotional service. The gopis resolved to confront Krishna reflects their desperation and determination to keep him. They tried all their means to keep him. They debate the consequences of their boldness of societal repercussions. They came out from their houses, leaving their families, husbands, children, and all relations. And now everybody came to know that they were in love with Krishna, which they had hidden for a long time. Yet their overwhelming love drives them to consider acts of defiance. They defied the rule of the society, the societal repercussions they were ready to face. It was all because of their love, transcendental love for the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna. Krishna's eventual reassurance to the gopis is a poignant moment. He reassured them that I will come back, and meaning that he would come back in a day or two. And as we know, he came back. He was true to his words. But this happened after 100 years, where he acknowledges his pain and expresses his own heartache. He knew their pain, and he knew everything what was happening in the heart of the gopis. His promises of return served to uplift their spirits. He said, I will come back just to uplift their spirits, and if only momentarily, as they cling to the hope of reunion. If there was no hope, then they would have died. That's why, just to give them a hope, he gave this assurance. Now here we see the gopis, they were trying to say, how can we exist without Krishna, who in the evening would return to Braja from the forest with his hair and garland powdered with the dust raised by the cow's hooves. As he played his flute, he would captivate our minds with his smiling glances. The gopis said, just as many nights passed in a moment in the happiness of the rasa dance, even a moment will become like 100 yugas in the sorrow of his separation. How could we tolerate that? For a long time, the gopis had carefully hidden their conjugal love for Krishna from the other Brajavasis. But now that Krishna was leaving, they were so distressed that they could no longer hide their feeling. It came out in the open, in front of all the Brajavasis, in front of all their relations, and everybody came to know. And then what they said, they sang the song of separation. Evam Brahmana Virahatura Bhasam. After speaking these words, agitated by their imminent separation from Krishna, these gopis of Vrindavana, with their minds attached to the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna, forgot all shame and loudly cried out, Govinda Damodara Madhavayati, O Govinda, O Damodara, O Madhava. Like Krishna, and then Krishna tries to console the gopis, and then he departs. Now, what happens? The chariot is ready. Krishna and Balarama are on the chariot, and the gopis are trying to, they were crying, they were trying to stop him. But even as the gopis cried out in this way, Akrura began to drive his chariot. He did not stop. And led by Nanda Maharaj, the cowherd men followed behind with their wagons filled with milk products for offering to king, because the Brajavasis, they were also invited to that festival. Now, then what happened? Krishna pacified the gopis somewhat with his glances. He is very much famous for his sidelong glances. And the gopis, they followed behind for some time, hoping for an instruction. Krishna saw their lamentation and consoled them by sending a messenger with this love promise, I will return. This was his last word when he left Vrindavan. And this was in the mind of the gopis, and it remained for 100 years. The gopis, they stood motionless like figures in a painting, sending their minds after Krishna. They remained there for a long time as the flag atop the chariot was visible, and even until they could no longer see the dust raised by the chariot's wheels. They waited till then. Then the gopis, they turned back without hope that Govinda would ever return, and full of sorrow, they began to spend their days and nights chanting about his pastimes. Now, regarding our acharyas, they have also commented very nicely. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, he wants to say that the gopis said, will die in this very evening. At the end of the day, Krishna, that friend of Balarama, would vibrate his flute while entering Braja. He would graze upon our breast and captivate our hearts with his sidelong glances. How will we live without Krishna if we do not receive that glance in the evening? How will we maintain our lives? Then he also tries to say that after lamenting and discussing this way, the gopis gathered together to make Krishna get down from the chariot. However, due to the pain of separation, they could neither move a step nor utter clear words. They were totally afflicted. And they tried to say, Oh Govinda, please take all of us, all our senses, thousands of them, and our eyes and minds with you, and they are going away in your association. So please be merciful and take them. Let our senses remain yoked to the bull of your mind, and thus protect them and do not neglect them. And if our bodies are not suitable for meeting you, you do not return to us, then right here we will give up our bodies. And if you desire, you may incur the sin of murdering women, but don't kill that mother of yours, the divine queen of Braja, that is Yashoda Mata, who loves him so much. Yashoda will die for sure if you do not return within 2 days. Please do not take on the sin of matricide. The gopis expressed the train of thoughts by exclaiming, O Govinda Damodara Madhava, like this. And then there is a very interesting thing the Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, he comments, he says, while speaking like this, Akrura actually disrespected the gopis. He should have comforted them by saying, "Oh Mother Yasoda, oh dear gopis, please forgive my offense because I am simply a servant of King Kamsa. I promise that with my own hand, I'll bring Krishna back to you." And some Vaishnavas, they say that because of this disrespect of offense, Akrura was later separated from Krishna during the Samantaka jewel episode. And he was so unhappy that he went from Dwaraka to Varanasi. Now, Radha Vinod Prabhuji was mentioning this thing yesterday. I said this will be answered today. So this is what is the answer. Because of this offense, Vaishnava Aparad, he was separated from Krishna and he had to hide. That incident we will come to know later. Now let us go on to the next slide. Now see these slides, they depict how the gopis were lamenting. They were trying to stop the chariot, and even some acharyas, they say that even the gopis, they pulled down Akrura and he was beaten up also. And on the right side, you see how Srimati Radharani and the other gopis, they are lamenting, they are totally distressed at the separation of Krishna and Balrama, who are going away. Now, let us analyze these events. These thematic highlights carry deep philosophical significance, particularly in the context of devotion, love, and the nature of reality. They were totally devoted. They are the Brajavasis and the Gopis. They were devoted to Lord Krishna. They had spontaneous love for Krishna. But what was the nature of reality? Nature of reality was this: the gopis, they were not following the societal rules, and Kamsa was the king. He had called them; they had to go. And now, what about the nature of divine love? What we call Krishna Prema. The gopis' love for Krishna transcends ordinary affection. It is not ordinary affection what we find in this material world. It is much, much higher than that, illustrating profound spiritual connection between the gopis, the Brajavasis, and the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna. Their love is characterized by intense longing and devotion, intense longing for meeting Krishna, to be with Krishna, and to be in association of Krishna, and their devotional service, which is distinct from material attachments. They are not material, not a tinge of material thing is attached to all these relationships. They were all transcendental. And this theme underscores the idea that divine love, which is known as Krishna Prema, is the highest form of love. That's why we say the highest form of love has been shown by the gopis of Vrindavana, surpassing even the bliss of impersonal realizations which the jnanis they aspire. It is much, much higher than that, and it emphasizes relational love as the ultimate expression of spirituality. What we speak of spirituality, what we speak of devotional service, it means pure transcendental love for the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And we'll again talk of separation, Vipralambha. We have spoken about this in very great detail in the earlier classes. The gopis suffering due to Krishna's separation, or rather impending separation. He was not separated, but he was about to go. This illustrates the pain of longing for the divine. They never wanted to be separated from Krishna even for a fraction of a second. And their emotional turmoil serves as a powerful expression of the soul's yearning for union with the God. The Supreme, the devotee wants to unite with the Supreme Lord. And this theme reflects the duality of experience. What is the duality? Separation is seen as a catalyst for deeper love and devotion. Our love and devotion to the Lord will increase if there is separation. If Lord Krishna were there with the gopis for all these 100 years, then there would not have been so much love for him. But it got deepened because of separation. That's why it is a catalyst. The pain of separation can lead to greater spiritual awakening and realization of divine presence. Then the critique of providence, how providence was criticized by the gopis and others. The gopis' criticism of the creator reveals human tendency to question divine justice. What is given by nature, that is disputed by the gopis. They perceived separation as an act of cruelty. They thought that the providence was cruel. That's why it was separating Krishna from them, highlighting their emotional vulnerability. The theme.
Really, Prabhuji, can I interrupt here?
Yes, Prabhuji.
See, the gopis are feeling intense pain of separation, you know. Now, this is a kind of similar when devotees, we are of course not that level at all, obviously, you know. They are Ragatmika devotees. We are even not sure we become even qualified to become Raga Nuga Bhakti, you know. Nonetheless, we face difficulties in our material life and we get so depressed, you know. But consider that as a separation, just equivalent to separation from Krishna. So that, because that reminds, separation from Krishna increases our longing for Krishna. The same way we have to translate our material sufferings in this world is also like equivalent to separation, because that reminds us of Krishna more and more. Remember Kunti Mata's prayers, you know. Go ahead, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you very much. Like we see or we have heard about very great devotees of the Supreme Lord, sadhus, they cry in separation, they are in distress, but actually that is not actual distress. They get pleasure out of them. Like this, the gopis, though they were about to be separated and they lamented, they were happy with that. They wanted to be, that we learn in the subsequent classes. Well, the power of surrender, prema bhakti, the gopis' willingness to confront Krishna and express their emotions, that demonstrates the power of surrender in devotion. Their readiness to defy social norms for love reflects a deep commitment. They were committed to Krishna, and it was from the heart, and that's why they were ready to take on anything, any repercussion because of that. That's why their love for Krishna came out in the open, and it illustrates the concept of bhakti as a path well beyond liberation. What the others, that is the jnanis and the yogis, they talk of liberation, and what the devotees talk of bhakti, they are much different. The bhakti is actually surrendering to the Supreme Lord, surrendering divine love, regardless of the consequences, is portrayed as the transformative act that leads to spiritual fulfillment. The devotees, they do not want any moksha or liberation in any way. They want to serve the Supreme Lord and suffer for that in any way. We'll go to the next slide. Now, the reality of the material world versus the spiritual existence. The gopis' detachment from their physical surroundings. They had the family, the society was there. They had relations, but how they were detached. They were detached while meditating on Krishna, emphasizes the illusory nature of material existence compared to spiritual reality. The spiritual reality is much more important to them, and they thought the material world, what they were seeing, what their experiencing in day-to-day life, that was illusory. Illusory means it was not long-lasting. This is the meaning. And this theme aligns with the goal beyond moksha, liberation, where true realization comes from transcending material concerns and focusing on the ultimate spiritual truth of attaining Krishna Prema, the love of God. They knew it very, very clearly that because of their love for Krishna, they do not have to do anything in the material world in material terms, because everything will be taken care of Krishna. Yesterday, I was listening to a story of a very high level devotees many years back, how they were in a jungle and they were worshipping the Supreme Lord, and finally the certain things were finished, and how they wanted, and the Supreme Lord only, he had sent a representative and gave them everything they wanted. That means we have to believe this, like the gopis are believing. If we have total faith on the Supreme Lord, he will take care of us. We do not have to do anything in this material world. Believe me, if somebody like we see the Goswami of Vrindavana, Jiva Goswami or Sanatana Goswami or Rupa Goswami or any of these Goswamis, what they did, they just obeyed the orders of the Supreme Lord, that is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and all their the material needs, they were fulfilled automatically. They didn't have to do hard work for that. The role of divine assurance, Krishna's assurance to the gopis, he said, I will come back soon, reflect the nurturing aspect of the divine. His promise serves as a source of comfort, helping them to cope with the despair. He knew their despair. He knew their grief very much. That's why he wanted to comfort them. It highlights the importance of divine grace and communication in spiritual journeys. It suggests that relationship with the divine is dynamic, involving both love and reassurance. If we love the Lord Krishna in our devotional service, he will reassure us time and again, and he would assure that we reach the destination in time. And community and shared grief, the collective lamentation of the gopis illustrates the power of community in spiritual experiences. It is not that one gopi, if she does like this, she will achieve what has been achieved by all these gopis, the gopis of Vrindavana. But when they worked together, like in the Gopi Geet also we saw, all the gopis, they started singing and this Gopi Geet together, and finally the Lord appeared. When as a community, the people or anybody, any group of people, they approach the Lord will be satisfied early. They shared pain, depends their bond and enhances their devotion. And because of their separation and their pain, their devotional service, their bhakti enhanced. And this final theme emphasizes the significance of communal relationship in spiritual practice. One should not think that I will worship, I will do my devotional service singly alone, but much better is if we do it in a community. It reflects the idea that the path to divine love is often strengthened those shared experiences and collective devotion. Now, the conclusion, the profound philosophical idea about love, devotion, separation, and the nature of reality, it encourages deep reflection on the complexities of human experience in relation to the divine, highlighting that the journey of love and longing is as significant as the destination of spiritual realization. What is the aim? The target is the spiritual realization. And the gopis, they were going through so much pains, but ultimately they got the blessings of the Supreme Lord. Now, how can the two sons of Anak Dundubi who are sitting in the chariot be standing here in the water? That's what who was feeling that, who was thinking like that. Akrura was thinking. He went to the Yamuna for taking bath, and he also saw Vaikuntha where Lord Vishnu is resting on the bed of Ananta. We'll say all this. Now, what happened? Akrura sees the Lord and his associates in the Yamuna. Krishna and Balrama and Akrura, they traveled on the chariot sent by Kansa, and the chariot moved as swiftly as wind, and they arrived at Kalindi, that is the Yamuna river, and Krishna drank the river sweet water, and then he mounted the chariot again. And then Akrura, he went to the part of Yamuna. He immersed himself in the water and recited Vedic mantras. And suddenly he saw Krishna and Balrama before him inside the water. And Akrura thought, how can they who are sitting in the chariot be here in the water? But when he came out of the water, he saw them sitting on the chariot just as before. Then Akrura, what he did, he again re-entered the water. Then when he immersed himself in the water, he saw the Ananta Sesa praised by Siddhas, Charanas, Gandharvas, and he had thousands of hoods and crowns, and his blue garment and fair complexion made him appear like Mount Kailasa. Then Akrura saw Lord Vishnu on the lap of Ananta Sesa with a complexion like a dark blue cloud. He wore yellow garments, had 4 arms, reddish, he had reddish lotus petal eyes, he had a smiling face, and he had an endearing glance, loving eyebrows, broad shoulders, expansive chest, long arms, conch-like neck, and his deep navel, abdomen, and elephant-like trunk, elephant-like thighs. His lotus feet gleamed with effulgence, then adorned with crown, jewelry, and the Kaustuba gem, and a garland. Lord Vishnu held a lotus, conch, disc, and club radiating brilliance. And he saw the Lord is worshipped by Nanda, Sunanda, the Kumaras, the 4 Kumaras, Brahma, Rudra, and the other demigods, Brahmanas, sages, Prahlada Maharaj, Narad Muni, Upacharika Basu, his internal potencies, Sri, Pushti, Kanti, Tushti, Ila, Urja, then the material potencies, Vidya, Avidya, Maya, and his internal potency, Shakti. And Akrura, seeing all this, he was filled in ecstasy. He beheld all this and was enthused with devotion, and tears came in his eyes. Somehow, steadying himself, he bowed down, joined his palms in supplication, and in a voice choked with emotion, he started praying to the Supreme Lord. Now, in this slide, Akrura's incredible vision in the Yamuna water. These verses offer a detailed account of Akrura's experience and the divine manifestations of Krishna and his expansions, especially in the context of Vaikuntha. Akrura's journey reflects the profound spiritual realization he undergoes as he moves from an initial state of meditation to a more direct experience of the divine. He was earlier meditating, but he could now see one-to-one the Supreme Lord's abode. In summary, the text portrays the interaction between the devotees and the divine, the nature of worship in Vaikuntha, and the attributes of Narayana, thereby enriching the understanding of devotional practice and the divine hierarchy. Now, you'll be remembering that the Vasudeva Krishna, not Nandanandan Krishna, he was the one who was going from Vrindavan to Mathura. Because Nandanandana Krishna, he never leaves Vrindavana even for a second. And this is the Narayana form. And now Akrura's vision, his experience in the Yamuna river was transformative. He initially sees Krishna and Balrama on the chariot, but his vision depends as he becomes absorbed in their divine forms. The description of Akrura meditating on the Lord's entourage and various aspects of his from highlights intricate connection between the devotee and the divine. The moment signifies a pivotal shift where Akrura acknowledges Krishna as the ultimate form of his worshipable deity. And Akrura knew that Krishna is the supreme personality of Godhead, but now he sees his forms, he sees how other great demigods, they were worshipping him. And description of Narayana, the detailed physical description of Narayana emphasizes the divine attributes. His form, high shoulders, glossy chest, strong limbs evokes a sense of majesty and strength. This depiction serves to elevate Narayana in the eyes of the devotees, emphasizing his transcendental nature and worship.
1 minute, really 1 minute, okay?
Transcendental.
You have to understand, Akruji, for that matter, even Bhishma Pitama also, they were worshipping Krishna and Lord Narayana in their Vaibhava form actually. Vaibhava means great in a awe and reverence bow. That's so. Whatever the form you worship, Krishna will show you that particular form, and that was the idea where Acharya is explaining that when Akruji was taking bath and he immersed in the river of Yamuna, Krishna showed him that his own Ishtadevata, Narayana form, in a completely awe and reverence Vaibhava Swarupa that he showed them, Okay, Haribol.
Thank you, Prabhuji. As we know in Bhagavad Gita, Je yathamam prapadyante tam tathaiva bhajamyaham. Now Akrura was thinking of Narayana, that's why the Lord showed his form in the Narayana form. Now worship in Vaikuntha, Narayana is worshipped in Vaikuntha only. The passage highlights the diverse ways in which different personalities worship Narayana, each according to their unique relationship with him. This illustrates the concept of the rasas or moods in devotional service, showcasing how each being devotion is valid and cherished. The categorization of the worshippers also reinforce the idea of eternal associates of the Lord, emphasizing the distinction between the liberated souls and the conditioned beings in the material realm. Then divine potencies, the elaboration of the internal and external potencies of Narayana provides insight into the working of the divine. This we saw. The potencies such as Sri, that is wealth, pushti, the strength, reflect the multifaced nature of divinity, which encompasses all forms of opulence and power. This section also emphasizes the eternal service rendered to the Lord by these potencies, which encapsulates the essence of devotion and the structure of the spiritual realm. Now, as we saw, all these energies of the Supreme Lord, they are 24 hours engaged in worshipping the Supreme Lord. Then next we go to the highlights, the divine manifestation and recognition. Akrura's realization of Krishna is the ultimate form of divinity. Akrura knew that Krishna is the ultimate. He is the Lord of the three worlds. This reflects the theme of recognizing the divine in various manifestations. He saw him inside the water in some form, and he is taking Krishna as the ultimate form in this universe. And this recognition underscores the concept of Paramayishvara, the supreme controller. And there are other Ishwaras also, like Shiva is also Ishvara, Brahma is also Ishvara, but Lord Krishna is the Parameshwara, present in multiple forms. He presents himself in multiple forms, not in one form, aligning with the belief that all deities are manifestations of the singular divine source. It means all the not only the demigods, the human beings, and all other creatures, they are manifestations of the singular divine source, that is Lord Krishna. It encourages devotees to see the divine in all aspects of life and foster a deeper understanding of spiritual unity. And now the divine of rasa or mood, the diverse ways in which different personalities they worship Narayana highlight the importance of individual relationship. Everybody was worshipping Lord Narayana in their individual way with divine described through various rasas. Like this, we also worship Lord Krishna in his various forms according to our relationship. In whichever relationship we have accepted, as per that, we take him to be that. Somebody takes him to be, thinks him to be a lover, somebody thinks he is a servant, somebody thinks he is a parent, like this. In our relationships, we worship the Lord. This emphasizes the idea that devotion is not monolithic, rather it is personal and subjective. Each devotee's unique expression of love and service is valued, suggesting that the journey of devotion is as important as the destination. Are the road, the path to the Supreme Lord, and the destination, they are the same. It also points to the idea that love for divine can take many forms, enriching spiritual experience. And what about the eternal associates and liberation? These verses mention eternal associates of Narayana who were free from material bondage. This introduces the concept of Nitya Siddha, eternally perfected souls. They are perfected eternally. From what time it cannot be said, until from the time the Lord has been there, all these devotees there with him, suggesting that there is a realm beyond material existence where souls exist in perpetual bliss and service to the divine. They are offering devotional service to the Lord eternally. It instills hope for devotees. We, the devotees, we also got a hope because of that, seeing this, hearing all this, that at some time when we get perfected, we will also get a chance to serve the Supreme Lord, affirming that spiritual perfection is attainable and that the spiritual world is populated by those who have perfected their devotion. Those who have perfected their devotion, they are there. And if we are perfected someday, we will also be joining the Nitya Siddhas one day. That is what is the hope for the devotees. Then the next slide, point number 4, internal and eternal potencies, the various potencies who were worshipping the Supreme Lord Narayana. The delineation of Narayana's internal and external potencies illustrate the complexity of divine nature. It is very, very complex. The internal and external potencies are there, present at the same time. Internal potencies like Sri and Pushti represent the inherent qualities and attributes of the divine, while the external potencies like Vidya and Avidya, they are also there, highlighting the dual nature of existence, liberation and bondage. This distinction invites contemplation on the nature of reality, encouraging devotees to align themselves with the divine qualities and transcend material limitations. We should not mind whatever material limitations come on the way of our devotional service, because the Lord is mixed with both of these. the role of the devotee. Akrura experiences underscores the role of the devotee in seeking and recognizing the divine. He was a pure devotee of the Supreme Lord, and he was able to recognize the divinity of the Supreme Lord in his way. It suggests that a true understanding of the divine comes through devotion and surrender. Please remember, this surrendering is very, very important. One may be engaged in devotional service, but if he is not totally surrendered, then he will not get all the good things which are which come from the devotional service rather than mere intellectual pursuit. The passage highlights the transformative power of faith and the importance of cultivating a devotional mindset to perceive the divine presence in the world. This faith and surrender, they are very, very most important thing. If we just keep on chanting the rounds on our beads and just mechanically worship the Lord, will be benefited, but the benefit will be much more if we are totally surrendered. That means we surrender our everything to the Lord, and we do not use any of our senses or strength to get over any obstacle, and we have full faith on the Lord. Then the Lord will come himself, because he is our permanent companion. Now, the interconnectedness of deities and their expansions reflect a holistic view of divinity. All these demigods and all these potencies, they are all connected to the Supreme Lord. They are part of Him. They are part and parcel of Him, and their job is to serve Him. Like all these demigods we know, they are the greatest devotees of the Lord. That's why they are in that position and they are enjoying so much benefits. Now, the purpose of the philosophical idea that all beings are interconnected through the divine source. Like we all beings, we have the individual souls, and the Paramatma, he is also there, and Paramatma is there in everybody. That means all individuals are connected. We have to recognize that. It encourages the view that the universe is unified whole. It is not disconnected at all, where every entity plays a role in cosmic order. Everybody, including ourselves, we have got the thing to do. We have got a role to play in the Lord's Leela, fostering compassion and respect for all forms of life. That's why we should have compassion for each and everybody and respect for each and everybody. And then the Lord will recognize that. And the conclusion, thematic elements of this passage collectively emphasize the richness of devotional service, the multifaceted nature of divinity, and the philosophical principles underlying the relationship between the divine and the supreme. They encourage contemplation of existence, of life's purpose, and achieving spiritual freedom through devotion and service to the divine. With this, we move on to chapter 40, the prayers of Akrura, full of Aishwarya Jnana. Here we will see Krishna, that is for Akrura, it is Narayana, is the cause of all causes, the origin of the entire cosmos in 3 verses, 1 to 3. Then all paths of spiritual realizations lead to Krishna, and all means of worship is meant to please him. Verses 4 to 10. And why doesn't then everyone worship Krishna? Now the answer is Prakriti, Maya, the 3 gunas, Sattva, Raja and Tama, they are controlling us. That's why everybody is not worshipping Krishna. The verses 11 to 12. And expressing glories of Krishna in relation to the imaginary universal form, that is Virat Rupa, we will see that in 3 verses 13 to 15. And Krishna is the origin of all his incarnation. 16 to 22. Krishna's to Bhagavan Swayam. From him, all the incarnations have come. Akrura's prayers culminate into personally seeking shelter at the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Here in the Akrura's prayers, we'll see the Sambandha, that is the Lord's divine identity in verses 1 to 3, in 4 to 12, Avideya, the different processes of worship, and Virat Rupa, as we said, 13 to 15, and at the end, 16 to 22, Akrura worship the Lord's eternal forms, and at the end, we'll see Akrura's humility and the prayers of deliverance. Here in this chapter, chapter 40, it relates to what I said, Akrura's prayers to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Akrura prayed that Brahma, who created this visible world, he emanated from the lotus navel of the Supreme Lord Krishna, and the 5 elements of physical nature, the 5 corresponding objects of perception, the 10 senses, the ego, the total nature of the primordial creator, and the demigods, they all originate from his bodily limbs. He cannot be known by sensory knowledge, and thus even Brahma and the other demigods are ignorant of his real identity. And different classes of people, they worship the Supreme Lord in different ways. Fruitive workers, they worship him by performing Vedic sacrifices, philosophers by renouncing material work and pursuing spiritual knowledge, yogis by meditating, Shaivites by worshipping Lord Shiva, Vaishnavas by following the injunctions of scriptures such as Narada Pancharatra, and other saintly persons by worshipping him as the original form of the self, of the material substance and the controlling demigods, just as rivers flow from various directions and merge into the ocean. The worship of those who dedicate themselves to those various entities find its ultimate purpose with the Supreme Lord, Lord Vishnu, and the form of the total universe, the Vishwarupa, is imagined to be the form of the Supreme Lord, like aquatics moving about in water, or like insects burrowing and a hole in a fruit. All living beings move about within the Lord only, and these living beings, bewildered by his illusory potency, his Maya, they wander along the path of material work. They falsely identify themselves with the body, home, and so forth. And under this way of illusion, a foolish person may overlook a reservoir of water covered by grass and leaves and instead run after a mirage. And similarly, living beings caught in the grip of ignorance, they abandon Lord Vishnu, Lord Krishna, and become attached to their bodies and homes like this. Such faithful servants of their senses cannot take shelter of the Supreme Lord's lotus feet. Only if by his mercy they get the association of saintly devotees, sadhus, will their material entanglement end. Only then can they develop Krishna consciousness by serving the Lord's pure devotees. Let us go on to the next slide. Now, Akrura's prayers explore various paths of worship, acknowledging that all forms of worship ultimately lead to Krishna, even if practitioners may not realize it. They may not realize it, but everything, like we said, all the rivers, they lead to the ocean. All these paths, they lead to the Supreme Lord, but some path takes much more time, some paths take lesser time, some paths are very, very difficult, and certain paths are very, very easy, like the relatively easy path is the devotional service. That's why the devotees, they are considered as the best. Akrura emphasizes that while material entities may not fully comprehend the transcendental nature of Krishna, the conscious living beings can, albeit with great difficulty due to the influence of Maya. He articulates the idea that worship directed at demigods still reverberates back to Krishna. He has said this in Bhagavad Gita also very, very directly. You may worship anybody, but ultimately it will come to me, as he is the underlying essence of creation. Furthermore, Akrura acknowledges his own ignorance and the challenges of material nature, likening his misguided pursuits to a person chasing a mirage rather than recognizing the true source of satisfaction and liberation, which is the Supreme Lord. The heartfelt prayers express a desire for Krishna's mercy, recognizing that though the association with pure devotees, one understanding and consciousness can be elevated. And this is Sadhu Sangha. This is so important. Now, ultimately, this chapter reflects themes of devotion, the nature of worship, the quest of knowledge, and the importance of divine grace in overcoming the illusions of material life. If we want to get over the illusions of material life, that is Sattva, Raja, and Tama, then we have to be in association of the devotees and worship the Supreme Lord. Akrura's humility and surrender to Krishna serve as a powerful reminder of the relationship between devotee and the divine. Now, here we talked about the demigods worship also. Now, as we know from Bhagavad Gita 9:23, even those devotees who faithfully worship other gods, they also worship the Supreme Lord Krishna. That's what he is saying. But when they do so, they do so by the wrong method. The direct method is worshipping Krishna only, not worshipping the demigods. That's why we know that demigod worship is not required, because if we worship the Supreme Lord Krishna, automatically everybody is satisfied. The demigods, they will get satisfied if we worship Krishna. There is no need of worshipping them separately. But at the same time, we learn that we have to show respect to them, the demigods, because they are part of the Supreme Lord. They are helping them in the affairs of the material universe, and they do the task which has been given by the Supreme Lord. And here the various different ways of worship also we learned, like the Sankhya yogis, they worship the threefold form of the living entities, the material elements, the controlling deities, and the karma yogis, the brahmanas, they worship the Supreme Lord by chanting mantras from the Vedas. The jnanis, they worship the original form of all knowledge, and that is jnana vigraha, by renouncing all material activities. But the Vaishnavas, they use their intelligence because their intelligence is pure, and by that they follow the scriptures promulgated by the Supreme Lord. They absorb them in their minds, and they worship the Supreme Lord, like Vasudeva, Sankarsana, Pradyumna, Aniruddha. The Saivites, they worship Lord Shiva and follow the prescribed path by them. But the Lord is saying, ultimately, they all worship me only. They worship the Supreme Lord, the embodiment of all devatas. The Lord might say, if anyone is worshipping me, then everyone should attain me. Anticipating such a reply, Akrura says how that is not possible with this analogy. Just as the rivers flow into the sea, but not the mountains which generate the rivers. Similarly, the worship in different paths go to the Lord, but not the worshippers themselves. The Lord might say, then why don't people worship me directly? Now, it is because of the three modes of material nature which are affecting us, which are controlling us, the Sattva, Raja, and Tama. They entangle all the jivas from Brahma down to the non-moving creature. And the Lord has said in the Bhagavatam, in Bhagavad Gita, that it is very difficult to transcend those. And what about the universal form of the Lord? The Virat Rupa of the Supreme Lord. Fire is his face, earth is his feet, the sun is the eye, sky is the navel, directions are sense of hearing, the chief devatas of the arms, oceans are is abdomen, the heaven is head, the wind, the vital air and physical strength, trees and plants are the hairs in his body, the clouds are hair on head, the mountains and they are bones and nails, days and night are blinking of eyes, and the rain is the semen. And he is saying that you are the origin of all the worlds with their rulers, residents, and yet you are inexhaustible. Those worlds travel within you, and just as aquatic swim in the sea, they do like this. Now and then Akrura, he also worships in various verses which are given in the Srimad Bhagavatam. He says that to enjoy your pastimes, you manifest yourself with various forms in this material world, and the incarnations they cleanse away all the unhappiness. And he talks about the various avatars, like the Matsya Avatara swam about the ocean of dissolution, Hayagriva Avatara killed Madhu and Kaitava, Kurma Avatara supported the Mandhara mountain, Baraha enjoyed lifting the earth, Narsimha Avatara removed the saintly devotees' fear, Vamana Avatara stepped over the three worlds, Parshurama Avatara cut down the forest of the conceited royal order, Rama Avatara put an end to the demon Ravana, Chaturvyuha, the lord of the Sattvatas, Buddha Avatara, the faultless and bewilders the Daityas and the Danavas, and Kalki finally annihilates the Mlecchas, posing as kings, which will come in Kali Yuga. Then we spoke about Akrura's humility and prayers for deliverance. He is trying to say, "O Lord, the living entities in this world are bewildered by your illusory energy and involved in the false concepts of I and mine. They are forced to wander in the path of fruitive work. So I am deluded in this way, foolishly thinking my body, children, home, wife, money, and followers to be real, though they are unreal like the dream." And he says that my intelligence is crippled. I cannot curb my mind, which is disturbed by material desires. And he surrenders, requiring mercy of the Supreme Lord. He says, being thus fallen, I am approaching your lotus feet, although I am impure and can never attain your feet, but I think it is nevertheless possible by your mercy. And he says he offers obeisances to the Supreme Lord, which is the embodiment of pure knowledge, with the source of all kinds of awareness, with the predominator of all forces of nature, the supreme absolute truth, the possessor of all unlimited energies, and within whom all living beings reside, and the Lord of the minds and the senses. Please protect me. I am the surrendered one. Let us go to the next slide. Now, the divine hierarchy and unity. Akrura emphasizes that all forms of worship, whether directed toward demigods or Krishna, ultimately lead back to Supreme Personality of Godhead. This we spoke in detail. This highlights the concept of a unified divine reality, suggesting that all spiritual paths they converge at a singular source. It encourages inclusivity in worship while recognizing Krishna as the goal. Krishna should be the goal of everybody. And then anybody who goes, ultimately he will be united. And the nature of reality and illusion, Akrura's prayers point out the influence of Maya, that is illusion, on the living entities. leading them to perceive temporary material gains as permanent, which prevent one from directly approaching the lotus feet of Krishna. It is because of Maya we are separated from Krishna. And once Maya is removed, this curtain is removed, we will be in front of Krishna only. Therefore, understanding the distinction between the eternal, spiritual, and the temporary, that is material, is crucial for the goal beyond moksha, beyond liberation. And what is that? That is Krishna Prema Bhakti, that is unconditional love for the Supreme Personality of Godhead. It challenges individuals to seek deeper truths beyond the superficial existence. And the consciousness and self-realization, Akrura conveys that true knowledge and realization of Krishna's nature come from divine grace and association with pure devotees. This sadhu sangha is so important. It is most important. And this underscores the importance of spiritual practice and the influence of a bona fide guru or enlightened being in guiding individuals towards self-realization. A bona fide spiritual master in the spirit, in the succession of the devotees. And it suggests that personal effort is necessary, but often insufficient without divine mercy. If the Lord is merciful, then the Guru will appear. And when the Guru appears, he will guide us. Then we will be full. Then surrender and devotion. Akrura's prayers illustrate his deep sense of surrender and dependence on Krishna. He was totally dependent on Krishna and he was totally 100% surrendered. For spiritual enlightenment and liberation, these two things are required. And the act of surrender, that is bhakti, is portrayed as a vital component of the spiritual journey. This theme emphasizes humility and recognition of one's limitations. We should know what are our limitations, which is essential for genuine spiritual growth. If we are overconfident, if we think we have got all the qualities and we can transcend Krishna's illusory potency, then we are mistaken. We should know our limitations, and with that we should surrender to the Supreme Lord, then we will be benefited. Then nature of worship, Akrura's prayers draw distinction between various paths of worship, including karma, fruitive work, jnana, knowledge, bhakti, devotion, and their relationship to Krishna. And if we go in detail about these things, we'll know that let us talk of karma. Karma means what? We do service to earn money, and without earning money, we cannot do anything. We cannot progress. That's why we think that is also work. It is not work. Now, karma means Vedic karma, like sacrifices. And about this also, everybody do not have adhikara or entitlement. And the Brahmanas, Kshatriyas, and the Vaishyas, they are entitled. And then out of them also, the people, if they do not have some the parts of the body like anga, they, so somebody doesn't have an eye, somebody doesn't have a ear, somebody doesn't have a foot or hand, they are not entitled. The third gender, they are not entitled. That means everybody is not entitled even for karma. Then about jnana, if one has not been purified by karma, how can he come into the final stage of jnana? That means jnana is not possible. And then bhakti, in this saranagati is very important with body, mind, and intelligence. And that is what is the most important. If we are not surrendered, then we will not be very successful. Like this saranagati in bhakti, it is included in bhakti in our Gaudiya Vaishnava system. In Sri Sampradaya, it is different. It is different from bhakti. They speak of bhakti. then talk of this Saranagati like this. That means if you analyze all these things in great detail, then you will find these things are very, very difficult, especially karma, jnana, and even yoga, Ashtanga yoga. They are very, very difficult. And little easier is Bhakti yoga only, because in that we are trying to worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead, making a relationship with Him with whatever we have. Now, this highlights the multifaceted approaches to spirituality, indicating that diverse methods can lead to same ultimate truth. Same ultimate truth, but it takes time. And say like karma, it is a very long way. Jnana, it is very troublesome way. But bhakti, it is a little comparatively easier way. Now it encourages practitioners to appreciate different paths while striving for direct devotional service. Now interconnectedness of all beings, Akrura points out that all living entities are bound by the modes of nature, and even demigods are not immune from ignorance. Now we are affected by the modes of material nature, the sattva, raja, and tama. It is not that sattva only affects us sometime, then raja and tama, but they are mixed. And they affect us at different times. That's why we are totally influenced by them, confused by them, and we try to think that this body is everything, this body is ourselves only, like this, all these things. And this is happening all because of this illusory potency of the Supreme Lord, and even the demigods, so they are also affected by this illusory potency. Hence, the emphasis on the shared struggle against illusion. It fosters compassion and understanding towards others, recognizing that everyone is on their own journey toward enlightenment. Everybody's journey is different. Everybody is in a different state at a different level. That's why one may be following any other path. Maybe at any level, we should be compassionate to each other. That is very, very important, what Akrura is teaching us. And philosophical inquiry and self-realization, self-reflection, Akrura reflects on his own ignorance and the challenges he faces in realizing Krishna's true nature. We, like Akrura, should realize our own faults, our own shortcomings, and our own ignorance and the challenges, and that will lead us to understand the Krishna. And this encourages philosophical inquiry and self-reflection as essential element of spiritual development. In the path of spiritual development, philosophical inquiry is very, very important. Whatever we have done, we should analyze that. What faults we have committed, we should realize that, and we should try to rectify them. And then it will help. It suggests that questioning and introspection are vital for overcoming delusion and attaining higher consciousness. This introspection is very, very important. We should not forget about that. And the thematic elements in Akrura's prayers convey profound philosophical insights that resonate with core principles of Vaishnava philosophy, emphasizing the importance of devotion, the quest for knowledge, and the ultimate pursuit of unity with the divine. In Vaishnava philosophy, what we are following, that is the path we should follow. Now we should follow our previous acharyas. We should follow what is given in the Shastras. We should not deviate from them. And what our sampradaya is teaching us, like the four basic rules one is supposed to follow, that one should and worship Lord Krishna in a very systematic manner. Then only we will be successful in our endeavor to reach the Supreme Lord Krishna. this is what I had to say in this lesson 77. Now we learned so many things from Akrura. Now the session is open for question and answers. Hare Krishna.
Krishna. Wonderful presentation, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna,
Krishna.
Prabhuji. Dandavat Pranam. So wonderful class, Prabhuji. So many lessons we have to learn from Akrura's prayers. So wonderful, Prabhuji. प्रभुजी यहाँ पे आचार्य उपासना इज मस्ट, जैसे मतलब हमें जैसे आपने कहा कर्म तो बहुत ही डिफिकल्ट है, सब प्यूरिफाई नहीं कर सकते हैं, ज्ञान भी इतना कर्म प्यूरिफाई नहीं हुआ तो ज्ञान भी इतना ग्रहण नहीं कर पाएंगे, और योग तो बहुत ही डिफिकल्ट सिचुएशन होती है। भक्ति में हम आगे थोड़े बढ़ सकते हैं अगर अच्छे से गुरु और संप्रदाय में रह के हम भक्ति कर सके स्ट्रिक्टली। और जैसे आपने कहा कि हम अपना दोष नहीं देखे, दूसरे हमें अपना ही दोष देखना है, दूसरे के दोष नहीं देखना है। इंट्रोस्पेक्शन, हमें हमारी जो गलतियां है वो हमें बार बार नहीं दोहरानी है और सिस्टमेटिकली भक्ति करनी है।
Yes.
तो ये सब सारे पॉइंट बहुत ही मतलब याद रखने लायक है प्रभु जी। थैंक यू सो मच फॉर दिस वंडरफुल रियलाइजेशन। थैंक यू प्रभु जी।
Thank you, Mataji. Actually, Raksha Mataji has been asking me questions for a long time, and I thought I'll describe it in front of everybody. This is Acharya Abhiman. Isn't it, Raksha Mataji?
Yes, yes, Prabhuji.
Acharya Abhiman. I'll tell you, this is actually an explanation of the Sri Sampradaya. What they say, like we are doing bhakti, we are practicing bhakti, and we are totally surrendered to the Supreme Lord. But has the Lord accepted that or not? That we do not know. That means at the end of our life, will the Supreme Lord show himself before us, because we may not be able to remember him. That's what they say. That's why they are the last resort is Acharya Abhiman. Acharya Abhiman means what their acharyas in the Sri Sampradaya they say. Suppose translating that into what position we are in. Suppose we pray to the Supreme Lord that oh Sri Krishna, at the time of our death or when we are in distress, we tell oh Sri the Lord Krishna, I am the grand disciple of Srila Prabhupada, who is a pure disciple of yours, and seeing him, please be merciful with me. The acharyas say in the Sri Sampradaya, if you worship him, if you call the Lord this way, this is Acharya Abhiman, and the Lord has no choice actually. He has to grace you and you will be benefited. There are so many things in different sampradayas you read. Like there is another, we should actually know other things about the other sampradayas also. I'll tell you one thing because we have got a lot of time today. Like in Sri Sampradaya, in Sri Sampradaya, the Supreme Lord, the Lord has promised to the Sampradaya Acharya that anybody who is surrendered to you, he will be liberated, he will come to my Vaikuntha. There should be no doubt about it. So like this, all these things are there. So there is a story for that also. Time is there, that's why I'll tell that story. Now that story is about the Tirupati Balaji. Now Tirupati Balaji, initially people never accepted it as Vishnu Murti. They thought it is a form of Kartikeya. And the Lord, he came in a dream to Ramanujacharya, and he told him, you do one thing, you know that I am the Supreme Lord, I am Narayana, and why don't you go and tell other people? he said they are not going to accept. They have been worshipping you as Kartikeya. He said, no, you go and I'll help. Then he went to the king, and the king called all his people. Then there was a Shastrartha, and in that Ramanujacharya, he tried to prove that that deity is Lord Narayana only and not Kartikeya. But nobody accepted that. Then there was a compromise. They said, let us close the temple, lock it from outside, and inside we keep the ayudhas, that is the things carried by Lord, the Supreme Lord, that is the conch and the chakra, and for the two things, the four things were kept. He says, whatever the Lord takes on his own, then we'll know who is that deity, whether it is Lord Narayana or Kartikeya. Now what happened then? Both the sampradayas, they started worshipping the Lord. The temple was locked from inside, from outside. Then what happened? The Lord came in the heart of Ramanujacharya. He told him that, what are you doing there? I cannot take up these ayudhas on my own because I am in the deity form. I cannot do it. You please come inside and you come inside. He said, I am outside, it is locked, how can I go? He said, you are forgetting that you are Sisavatar. You can come inside through a hole as a snake and put these things in my hands, and that will prove your point. Then he did that, and at the end everybody accepted that it was Narayana. Then what Narayana said, since you have given me this gift, now you are my guru. Then he said, Ramanujacharya said, if I am your guru, then give me the Guru Dakshina. Now, what Guru Dakshina you want? Then Ramanujacharya, he told the Lord that anybody who is in my sampradaya, if he is totally surrendered to me in the disciplic succession, then he is going to the Vaikuntha is 100% guaranteed. I want this as the Guru Dakshina. And this was given by the Lord. That is what is the story. That is all these things there are in different sampradayas. So these are the things in Sri Sampradaya. They worship whom? They worship Lakshmi Narayana. In our sampradaya, in the other sampradayas, they worship Radha Krishna. Like this is the difference. That means here the main thing we saw, surrendering to the Supreme Lord, having faith on the Supreme Lord, Vishwas, Shraddha. These are very, very important. So, any other comment or question?
Yeah, Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Okay, go ahead, Prabhuji.
No, nothing.
Okay.
Please go ahead, bro. I don't have.
Yeah. Okay. So, Prabhuji, this really opens up, what was happening to my mind. So, as you say, Acharya Abhimana, and I'll tell you in Maharashtra, there are many other, one is the Swami Samartha and all that. They say, just come to me, and always has that trouble. And we know trouble because they come to me and then I will do whatever you want. He doesn't tell you what needs to be done. And there are currently I see when I go to the particular, at least in Maharashtra, there are many such a sense people go to them. Okay, so I see could be the reason the way you are talking about here, like Achar Vimana. Maybe in this is a typical example of Balaji or maybe a Sri Sampradaya, but I see The people say that come to me and that's it. So they don't tell that, like in ISKCON or like as a Vaishnava, we'll tell that we'll guide you how to go to the Krishna, right? We can help you go to the Krishna. Our Guru also takes it to the Krishna, takes one hand us and walks, gives her hand to Lord Krishna. If you are surrender, all these things are there. But it opens up a totally different thing. And thanks for telling me. For a long time I was trying to understand why they are talking about. There's the influence of Sri Sampradaya, Ramanujacharya, particularly in Maharashtra. I don't know other places, but this could be one of the. I really don't know. Other Sampradayas also. So just worship Guru, and Guru will do everything. So I just want to bring you, Prabhuji, that this thing. And only another thing I see, that devotion and surrender. It's very nicely the way it's been coined. Devotion is not enough, and you brought it very nicely. Just following 4 regulatory principles, chanting 16 rounds, all those things we are doing. But at the end, if it has not transferred or transformed, as Charu Prabhuji says, heart has not transferred to one of these rasas or a surrender to the Lord, then it is also incomplete, right? So that was a very nice takeaway from what Vidura says, and you brought out that point very nicely. Thank you, Prabhuji. So this is what I was just thinking.
Here we have to remember, we have to follow our Sampradaya Acharyas. We should not try to copy what others are doing. We should do that, then we will be benefited. No, we have to follow what is in our Sampradaya. That is what is very, very important. Don't mix up. We should just know what somebody does, but practicing, we should do what is done in our Sampradaya. That is most important. Please do not copy from any other Sampradaya. That is most important. Otherwise, there will be mix up, will not be understanding. But we should know, like the 4 authorized Vaishnava Sampradayas, what they do, what they worship, what they practice, that we should know. But we should follow what is given in our Sampradaya in the disciplic succession. That will what will be organized, recognized. If we do something else, it will not be. Like what you said, if somebody recognizes his Guru to be the Supreme Lord, representative of the Lord, and he only obeys his Lord, his Guru, and worships his Guru, and does not worship even Lord Krishna, that is all right. There is nothing wrong in that. The Guru, his job is to take us, hold our hand, and take us to Krishna. And if he recommends, Krishna has no other alternative but to accept. It has to be through the Guru, through the Sampradaya Guru. There is no doubt about it.
Yeah, they don't. I didn't mention that, Prabhuji. What I said that the Guru take to that Guru or saint, right? And they don't say anything. There's no that this Guru will take to Krishna or whatever, Ram or anything, right? Nothing. Come to me and I'll do everything. So that is where it stops. And I see so many saints typically in Maharashtra, and a lot of people are going there. And that's what I see that.
The Sampradaya, they are there, they will say, come to me, I'll take you to God. But you have to see if they follow a particular Sampradaya. If they are not from a Sampradaya means it should start from the Supreme Lord and come down. If it is not like this, then it is not a Sampradaya. And the 4 Vaishnava Sampradayas, recognized, which is in Bhagavatam, these are 4 only. Of course, the outshoots, there are correct Sampradayas also, but they are offshoots of these 4 Sampradayas. That is perfectly all right, but not anybody else.
प्रभु जी, यहाँ पे एक पॉइंट ऐसा आता है कि अगर वो जो गुरु है वो अपने गुरु को फॉलो करता होना चाहिए, अपने गुरु को फॉलो करते होने चाहिए, है ना प्रभु जी?
Not only Guru, the complete Sampradaya, like we talk about 6 Goswamis of Vrindavan, Now our Guru is following that. We talk of their commentaries of the Acharya. Yes, he should follow his Guru like this. That is very true. Guru is the link between the Supreme Lord and the devotee. That is
गुरु को प्रभु जी अपने आप को भगवान नहीं मानना चाहिए, है ना प्रभु जी? ये भी बराबर है ना? अपने आप को गुरु को भगवान नहीं मानना चाहिए, हमें मानना चाहिए, शिष्य को मानना चाहिए.
He should not, but we should not see him different from Lord.
हाँ, right प्रभु जी.
And that's what we say, Sakshat Haritvena. Sakshat Haritvena means he is like Hari. He is like the Supreme Lord. He is not the Supreme Lord. He is like the Supreme Lord means he has got all the qualities of the Supreme Lord. So what happens when we practice this devotional service and the Lord is very happy? The first thing he does, he arranges for a spiritual master. And then the process starts. So spiritual master is so important in the Sampradaya. Any other comment or question?
Am I audible?
Yes.
Yes, Prabhu, thank you for the wonderful class. So I was, lot to learn as you covered, and Mataji also revised for us. And thank you. That was a very, very interesting point on Acharya Abhimanyu. So my question is, Prabhu, Akrura is such a personal devotee of Krishna. So what is puzzling me is why, despite of being so close and intimate, sort of to some extent, very intimate and very close associate of the Lord, why he is not convinced that Krishna is the Supreme Personality, and why is he worshipping like the Vishnu or Narayan?
It makes it very clear. Krishna is the Supreme Personality Godhead, but his deity, Ishtadevata, is Lord Narayana, and Krishna is his expansion. That's the kind of feeling he has, to my understanding. Okay. Now, Bishop Pitama also worshipped Lord Narayana, and yet Bishop Pitama's love for Krishna, we all know, right? Deepest possible. Look, even Nanda Baba is Ishtadevata is Lord Narayana, but he's despite he saw some divine acts and qualities in his son, when all the Brajavasis questioned him that your son is not your son, he is a supreme God, he's a God, So he said, no, he was laughing and said, no, look at, if he is supreme, he gets angry, he gets all tantrums and everything he does, steals food from others, all these things. No, my son is not like that, but my son, as Gargamuni said, is Sama Narayana. So you have to understand each devotee's particular bhava, and then Krishna reciprocate that particular bhava. Akrura he never said that Krishna is not a Supreme Lord, but his form, Narayana form, in that also awe and reverence. Okay, Aishwarya Jnana is in Aishwarya form, he is to worship.
Yes. So, like Nanda Baba, he understands that Krishna, he has attachment for Krishna, but they worship
He
Vishnu
saw,
as
of course, he saw that Krishna's superhuman acts and everything, right? In fact, he went to his Varuna Loka and saw Lord Varuna worshipping Krishna, his son. All these things he saw that, right? But when he came back and the Brajavasis asked him, what was his reply? That my son, as Gargamuni said, is Narayana's Sama. He's like Narayana, means Lord Narayana's worship. Mercy is there on my son, but my son is an ordinary person like that. In the sense, look at it, he shows tantrums, he becomes angry if he doesn't get what he wants. All these things are contrary to God, right? So he was laughing at it actually. And then, of course, internally, he might have feeling that, but nonetheless, all the Brajvasis, that their own prema for Krishna, either in the Sakya Bhav or Madhurya Bhav, Vatsalya Bhav, they always overshadows the Aishwarya that they saw in Krishna. And that is Krishna's Yogamaya actually did that. So that his Aishwarya Bhava would not diminish their intimacy with Krishna. That's what the Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur explains at many different places.
Wonderful, Prabhu. Thank you.
And Krishna,
Yeah, so
fountainhead of
Prabhu,
all. In our Sampradaya, only in our Sampradaya, we believe that Krishna is the fountainhead. Jiva Goswami has proved so beyond reasonable doubt in Krishna Sandarbha, right? But the other Sampradaya, especially Sri Sampradaya, does not accept that. They say that Narayana is the supreme and Krishna is his expansion. Even though Jiva Goswami went at great length to prove that, like
Prabhuji,
said,
so
he
my
being in our Sampradaya, we follow our thinking, our policy, okay?
Yeah, thank you,
Sorry,
Prabhu.
go ahead.
So what I want to clarify is, so what you're saying is, Akrura is same level, like, I mean, almost like Nanda Baba, where
Yeah.
they think like they are
No,
attached to
little
Krishna,
difference. Big difference is there. Nanda Baba is his Vatsalya Prema is overpowering, okay? Whereas Akrura, he knew Krishna is the supreme, but his supreme is in an Aishwarya form, there is Lord Narayana form, okay? I don't know how better I can explain that myself. Sharply, can you try that?
Yes, Prabhu, there is another very, very interesting thing, real thing I'll also tell you. Like, whether you worship Narayana or Rama or Radha Krishna or anybody, but in which form the Lord will show himself to you, that will be different. Why I am saying, if some of you know Ramanandi Sampradaya, there is a very, very elevated, great Acharya at present, Rajendra Maharaj. I heard him some time back. His mother passed away during last around October, November last year. Now they are from Ramanandi Sampradaya. They worship Sitaram, and throughout her life she was chanting the name of Sitaram, Sitaram like this throughout her life. At the last moment, who came? Lalita Vishakha came, and she went with them to the spiritual world. He said it happened in front of him. So this can happen. It is the Lord's wish in which form he comes and gives his darshan to us. But we should follow our sampradaya. We should do our job. The Lord will do his job. That is different. We have no control over that. But please remember what the Lord says. Ye yatha mam prapadyante tam tathaiva bhajamyaham. It has got a lot of implications. If we take Lord Sita and Ram to be the Supreme Lord, he will come as Sita Ram. If we think Radha Krishna are the Supreme and I worship them, he will show us in that form. He will show us in a form which we want. Ye yatha mam prapadyante. That is so very important thing. So all these things we should remember. But the final thing also, please follow what is given in our own sampradaya. You know what is happening in other places, but just know them. For following, it is own sampradaya, own acharyas, what they are saying. Don't mix up.
Prabhuji,
Yes,
somebody's listening to our talk, okay? That Lakshmi Narayan, that what comments that we made, you need to be careful, okay?
yes.
My chairperson, Premaji, just sent me a photo of Lakshmi Narayan, Sri. So we've got to be a little bit careful, okay, what we say. We are not criticizing any other sampradaya. Okay?
Yeah, we're not.
We are talking about what is our sampradaya, okay? I just got a message from her, you know.
I think Prabhuji, she is from Sri Sampradaya, because the tilak she was wearing that.
Yeah, yes.
So
So I think the comments that you made